welcome back to another episode of the Lonely Liberal Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Zankin, and I'm so happy to have you on this lovely Sunday evening. We got a lot to talk about, with all the Venezuela stuff and regime change that's going on in the U.S. politics. So Rick and I are going to go through that like we do every Sunday, all the news and stuff like that. But before we do, I wanted to let you know that Rick has actually started a Substack for our pod. So he's going to be posting there once a week. You can just go to Substack, The Lonely Liberal Podcast. I'll put the link in the show notes, but definitely check that out. He's posted his first article today, and it's great, so I'm really excited about that. So, yep, check it out, and let's get to it. All right, and we are back with Rick, and this time we're in 2026. What's up? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year. How's it going?
Good. Are we in the Happy New Year window still?
I think we still are.
Yeah. Do you think tomorrow it ends? What's a good cutoff for you for Happy New Year?
I'd say 1 week.
1 week?
The 7th, maybe.
Yeah. Then then no good. It's over.
No.
Yeah. No, you can't.
But, I have something random to thank you for. I don't think I've mentioned it.
Oh.
It might be my best purchase of 2025, and it was $4 off Amazon. I notoriously get electric shocked all the time in the winter in Boston.
Same here.
Like,
yes.
To such a severe extent, it's kind of crazy. Like, every time I touch any doorknob, I get shocked so strong. Like, you could see the spark.
Yeah, you're like a very dry boy.
I'm charged up. I think I'm charged up.
The kinetic man himself.
I'm running negative. So I don't know why, I've tried different things, different socks, different slippers. But you, a year or two ago, recommended these little keychains you can buy off Amazon for $2. And they, before you touch something that you think you're going to be shocked at, you touch the keychain too, and it sets off a little spark in the keychain. Works amazingly well. So I just want to say this is the first winter I've been mostly saved from shocks thanks to your recommendation.
Well, I'm very happy it's been, because I've been getting shocked like crazy the last few years too, and I went on that big R&D hunt, and what made me really, pull the trigger on this thing was I was on the treadmill at the gym, and I got shocked on the treadmill so bad it turned the treadmill off.
Oh my God.
And I thought, I'm gonna die. Then I went into a health panic of can you give yourself an AED or whatever, and stop my heart, and I got freaked out. And then and then I went down a whole rabbit hole, and I found these little things that they light up with the electric shock when you touch it. And so now I've literally turned the treadmill off at the gym multiple times, touching the keychain while I'm running, because I bring it to the gym because the treadmill is by far
it's the worst
offender.
Because of the shoes and the friction and everything.
And you're just you're literally revving it up like a hamster in a wheel. And
it's charging up.
Like Sonic the Hedgehog. Just no, but that's great.
But then, are you self-conscious at all about looking a little weird holding a little cylindrical keychain, pressing stuff in public?
Yeah.
It does look a little odd.
At work all the time. I do it at the elevator.
It looks germophobic, too.
Which I've already,
Which we are.
Yeah, exactly. Which I've always said, you almost have to come out as a germaphobe, almost, coming out of the car. You have to tell people because they can get really offended when you don't want to share drinks or touch things. So
right.
you have to be I'm so sorry, I am a germaphobe. And, I understand. And then you could ruin a relationship like that. But yeah, so I've lost a lot of shame over the years in general with these things. So yeah. I mean,
great invention. Best purchase under $10 I can remember ever making.
And you really do look crazy. I do it all the time now. I've almost gotten into it.
Yeah, because every time I walk into my house in the winter and I take off my jacket, I know I'm going to get shocked after because of the jacket versus sweatshirt friction while you remove it. And so every time I then, grab the keychain and touch a piece of metal, this just looks a little odd, but it works.
Hey, when we're together, it's going to be even more ridiculous than both of us. Look, you're sci-fi guys, with little
We have propeller hats.
Exactly. Welcome to the Lonely Liberal. And before we get into the news, I thought it was worth mentioning off the top of the show. So people have actually asked about this, and we've recently started as a new thing for this year. We're going to do a Substack led by Rick himself. And you may notice when you read Rick's posts, which are going to be live, I think, maybe next week. Rick, you're going to try to do once a week, is that it? Or like, what are you thinking for the cadence?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'll do one a week and whatever you want. And other contributors potentially too. For
sure. And if you're interested in writing for the Substack, you should write into the Lonely Liberal Podcast at gmail.com if you have like a political topic, op-ed type thing that you want to get out. I mean, we were thinking it's a good idea not only to engage with you guys, but also like as people in like, political, academic-y type world, sometimes you just don't want to have to write a whole thing, to get out an idea. And I thought it would be a kind of a cool idea for people to interact with, and Rick can kind of do. Rick had the idea. But what I wanted to mention is when they see the author, they will be seeing a name of Rick E.L.
Yes, that is my new pen name as well as my pod name, Rick E.L.
So it won't be Rick L. It's Rick E.L., like Louis C.K. That's exactly how you want it to be pronounced.
Not R.L. Stein, but Rick E.L.
Lemony Snicket, Lewis Carroll or whatever, and Rick E.L.
But yeah, I work in completely apolitical industry. I work in biotech now, where like my full name is on everything. So I wanted a different name for kind of the politics stuff online. So came to Rick E.L. So feel free to address me as that.
Mr. E.L. No, no. I just wanted to let people know when they see that is indeed.
Yeah, that's me.
We don't have another Rick. Yeah, but yeah, keep an eye out. Let us know what you think, and it'll be our introduction into the Substack world. So cool. But we have a big news story. Obviously, I'm sure people enjoyed our 7 minutes of meandering about kinetic energy. But if they're still with us, to talk about this big drama with Venezuela. Now, longtime listeners will know we've been rambling about Venezuela for months now, but it obviously came to a head. And it was really shocking because, Rick, the FIFA Peace Prize holder, the very, very prestigious Peace Prize holder, bombed a country within a week after receiving that award. Pretty wild. And yes,
crazy.
It was I know, you think, what does that even mean anymore? The FIFA Peace Prize. I mean, wow, what a meaning. I thought that had so much weight. But yes, the U.S. not only bombed Venezuela, and Axios is actually reporting 150 plus aircraft were used during this raid. But they captured Nicolás Maduro, the president of Venezuela, and his wife, and are now bringing him back to New York City. I'm assuming they've brought him back to face him with federal charges under narco terrorism, so forth and so on. Now, obviously, if you've been following this for the last, basically all of 2025, the U.S. had been bombing different boats off the coast of Venezuela, saying that they were, bringing drugs into the country. They actually, a few weeks beforehand, had bombed a pier in Venezuela, so that was kind of an escalation. And yeah, so basically what happened was they're saying elite U.S. forces went in, grabbed him, took him out, and then did a bunch of bombings too. It's wild. There's way more to talk about, but that's kind of the over very high level kind of summary of the whole thing. Rick, what did you think when you saw this break?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, of course, we saw the warnings coming, and many of them, Trump issued those himself, but I didn't think it would happen this soon and this blatantly this is just the most blatant regime change action I can remember in modern history. And we've been, as you know, the U.S. has been involved in a lot of these interventions.
Yeah.
If you include, bombing and drone campaigns in addition to Iraq and Afghanistan. What's interesting about this is the justification to go into Iraq was not solely based on regime change. It was based on the fact that the regime had alleged weapons of mass destruction, which they did not. But
yes,
that the justification wasn't as simple as this Trump Maduro. We just need to take out the leader and then we'll figure out the rest. Yeah. So as bad as people look back on the war in Iraq, and I do think it was a mistake, but that was approved by Congress over like a year-long period of 2002. You know, it took them a year to decide. They went into Iraq. It took them over 6 months to even find Saddam Hussein and capture him. So like this is very different and kind of much more blatant and should be even more unpopular than that was. But I guess I'm not sure what the reactions will be. How do you think people will react to this?
That's the question, right? Because you're right. And also, while obviously not directly connected, just 9/11 in general had people's emotions flaring up big time. You know, like they were able to kind of, I feel like that was, well, like not like literally linked, like a big part of why Congress and the public were so open to this just general war on terror kind of things, you know, even though
definitely
they weren't actually what did 9/11, you know. But yeah, so it's crazy. And that's the thing. I mean, we were promised no more foreign wars, yet in this year alone, he's bombed Yemen, Iran, Somalia, Nigeria, Venezuela, Syria. You know, I can continue. Like, this is crazy. We've been just bombing and bombing. It's almost more like Gaddafi than it is with Saddam, I'd say. But the capture, it's like a blend of, you know, that's true. And that's the thing, right? Like, it's not just unique to Trump. It is a U.S. problem, just this regime meddling, this craziness. But like you said, the difference is usually there's a little bit more either international support or a little bit more domestic support. This is zero. You know, no one wants this. And it's funny now because we were talking about it a few weeks ago when they tried to link fentanyl. They literally declared fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. And obviously the parallels to Iraq were coming up then. We were talking about it then. And now, yeah, Venezuela doesn't have a president now. But I think what is even more terrifying than just even this, and this is what changes it from the Gaddafi level to more of the Iraq level, is in Trump's press conference immediately after, right, at 11 yesterday, he says that the U.S. will run Venezuela. And it's very difficult with Trump to know exactly what he means because A, he changes his mind all the time, and B, he speaks with so much hyperbole, and C, he lies all the time. So all those things make it tough. But you can't run a huge country without a ton of military presence, right? And that's what makes it seem much more like Iraq than what we saw in Libya, which, again, I didn't like then either. But it's that's, I feel like, what makes it feel more like that. Because what does he mean by run Venezuela?
Right. Like, even in Iraq, though, like, President Bush was more careful to say whenever he talked about the U.S.'s role after they toppled Saddam. Like, he was always careful to say the U.S. will quickly transition to working with the Iraqi forces, the allied Iraqi forces. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I just don't feel like they're that quick to do this. I mean, I guess we'll see, but knowing Trump, he's going to try to squeeze every bit of oil and gold. Also, Venezuela has big gold reserves. He's going to try to squeeze every bit of that out, too. But I think what you said about the lack of allies part is huge, because in Afghanistan, they had a large coalition of allies. Obviously, the U.S. was, the wide majority of the soldiers on the ground. But in Iraq, they had a much smaller coalition. The U.K. was the only other country that sent, over 10,000 troops with the U.S. But then now you're seeing literally zero cooperation with anybody else. Prime Minister of the UK was asked about it, and he was like, I knew nothing, we knew nothing, I don't know how else to say it, we knew nothing ahead of time. Like, he could not be running away from it quicker.
100%, yeah. Because
he knows how connected Britain was, I think, with the war in Iraq with the US, and how unpopular that became in Europe too. So the whole thing is just kind of crazy.
And let's talk about that oil stuff too, right? Yeah. Because that's the other thing is, when the war in Iraq, it was kind of the subtext of it, right? Like, it was all outwardly weapons of mass destruction, and people were like, but it's really about the oil. But this is a lot different in the sense that they're just saying it outright. Right. Like, we want, I mean, this is the direct quote from the speech yesterday. We're going to have our very large U.S. oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. He's literally saying the U.S. oil companies are going to be running the country, kind of, in a way. And that's why it's not going to cost Americans money. They said, won't this cost money? And he said, no, because the U.S. oil companies are just going to do it. Now, the only U.S. oil company that really operates in Venezuela currently is Chevron. That doesn't surprise me. And I think it's important, Rick, to remember that in the campaign year in 2024, people should remember when Trump brought all the oil executives to him because he was running out of campaign money because of all the lawsuits and stuff like that. And he said, I promise American oil companies a great deal if they donate $1 billion. Then within a year, he now gives, he's literally giving them Venezuela, the largest oil reserve in the world. I don't even think, to me, I don't think it's crazy to say not only is this like an illegal war that we obviously condemn over here, and breaks international law and all that stuff. This feels very corruption-y, even like he's doing a favor for U.S. oil companies very deliberately and almost very publicly.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. Yeah, the word I just keep coming back to is blatant, and that's why it's kind of hard to put it in like context of these previous interventions, because nobody has been this blatant about bad motives for military aggression.
100%. Yeah.
They're just not even trying to hide it. And you quoted Trump, J.D. Vance, who I would say in general is the better spoken of, him and Trump. He's kind of the one that cleans up the language a little bit, but effectively says just as bad things.
100%, yeah.
He tweeted, the president offered multiple off-ramps, but was very clear throughout the process. The drug trafficking must stop and the stolen oil must be returned to the United States. So again, he could have stopped that sentence and the drug trafficking must stop. And they didn't. So they're not trying to hide that they're going to go plunder this South American country for oil. But the whole thing is really messy, and Maduro arrived in New York, I think, when was that, yesterday, maybe, on the 3rd?
Yeah, because they took him the night of Friday, so yeah, he came in on Saturday, in like a sweatsuit. I don't know if you saw the pictures that Trump tweeted out.
Yeah, he was wearing a sweatsuit and like giant sunglasses or to protect his eyes, and then headphones that you wear in a helicopter, but... Yeah, Bondi says he's being charged in the Southern District of New York with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. So basically narco-terrorism, and its connected things.
By the way, if you're listening right now and you're thinking, isn't it, is this common for the United States to offer a federal indictment to a foreign leader? No, it's not. Coincidentally, though, it did happen in 2022 when the former president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, was convicted of this exact same thing, large-scale drug trafficking, human rights violations, stuff like that, who Trump pardoned November 28th, fully. So the former Honduras president was convicted of almost the exact same thing and was given a full pardon a month and a half ago. So tell me how that makes sense, Rick.
It's unbelievable, and sadly the explanation, I assume, has something to do with the Honduras president saying he likes Trump personally and Maduro not liking Trump personally.
And obviously this is now going to become the thing of the next, that's one of the main stories of 2026, right? I mean, We've gotten Venezuela. Oh, another thing to think about, right, is Trump was talking about in this thing like, oh, the vice president, maybe they can take over. The vice president of Venezuela has condemned this, right? The woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize, who is the opposition leader in Venezuela, she's also kind of been like, we don't know what to say, blah, blah, blah. She's not very popular in Venezuela right now. But yeah, you've seen everywhere basically condemn this fully. We've seen, Brazil, Mexico, which I think is a big deal. The Mexican president saying, we condemn this. I don't think Mark Carney has said much. They've been kind of neutral, like kind of more in the Britain thing, like, oh, we don't know, I don't know, like kind of stance. Of course, Argentinian President Javier Milei loves this because remember, folks, we bailed Argentina out earlier last year because Trump and him are friends. And obviously the Cuban president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, has also said this is a criminal act. China has condemned it. And I think the China condemnation wasn't surprising, but also very relevant because this basically gives them tacit approval to do whatever they want, I think, right? Because what's the difference? Oh, this is in our sphere of influence. We think they're illegal. Can't they just make up a fake drug thing about the Taiwanese president and then go into Taiwan? What's the difference of this in Ukraine? I think the hypocrisy has always been there with the U.S., but this just is just tough. There would be no moral leg to stand on if China went into Taiwan and we defended Taiwan now, I think. What's the difference?
Of course, like you said, China could say the exact same thing because it's not like Trump is accusing Maduro himself of driving his yacht with cocaine on it to Texas. You know what I mean? The accusation is that he's involved in conspiracy and racketeering with actual drug traffickers. So you're right. Like any large country could say that about a nearby smaller country.
And you could just say it like this idea of like, well, Venezuelan nationals broke U.S. law, or like the president like was loosely involved or whatever claim you're saying. Couldn't that apply anytime anyone breaks the law in another country to an extent if you're being really dramatic, right? Like what's to say this wouldn't happen? And I think like the thing that we were saying a lot with the boat strikes and stuff like that was imagine if another country did this to the U.S. Like, you know what I mean? Like picture this exact action, but the other way around. Would you think it was okay? And you
right.
Would,
like imagine, think of Singapore, right? This unique, really small country that's known for extremely strict laws, including like laws around drugs. Think about if like Hunter Biden or Donald Trump Jr. got caught with like a gram of cocaine in Singapore. You know what I mean? Like they would have just as much of a justification. Yeah.
Yeah. We should now kidnap the entire president and like bring them to Singapore and give them the death penalty. The other thing to think about too, you were mentioning Bondi. She said as well, like Maduro will face the full, like the righteous fist of the U.S. law. So talk about a fair trial. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so illegal. It's so illegal, and it's embarrassing. I feel embarrassed. I don't know if you feel it's that same shame I felt during the Iraq stuff, and honestly, the Gaddafi stuff to an extent. Like, we're not saying Maduro is a good guy and should be president, and what he does in Venezuela isn't terrible. It's just when has this U.S. regime meddling ever worked ever? I mean, what's an example of this working?
Right.
It's a disaster. It's illegal and it's a disaster. And it's frankly, now the question hinges on what does Trump mean when he says the U.S. will run Venezuela until a transition is in place? What does that mean? Because if it means troops, I don't think the U.S. can afford to run Venezuela. I mean, that would be thousands and thousands and thousands of troops for a very long time.
And it would be I feel like it would be so focused on getting the oil too.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a huge, that's like now that Maduro is captured, like that's the main goal, I think, is how much oil can we get?
And they're going to frame it as we're doing charity work by upgrading all their old stuff. But in reality, it's just colonization, effectively. And they're just going to be like, now we own this. And now they think that's the case, which is so funny. Little tangent right here. So funny that oil is apparently such an economic industry that the only way the U.S. can be competitive is if they invade other countries and steal the oil. You never hear of a great conflict started because of solar panels.
No, and we have a massive amount of oil. It's not like we don't have any oil in, the United States.
And of course, it's ridiculous. And it's one of the highest subsidized forms of energy in the world. It's so ridiculous. And it's such the hypocrisy is so dramatic. But I think we should wrap this up with talking about the question you asked earlier is, how do you think MAGA will react to this? Because it is so against the promises. And again, like we've listed off earlier, so much of this foreign intervention has been against the promises. But you would think this would be highly, highly unpopular.
Exactly. And it's, the reason Trump since 2016 and then the Republican Party followed, like their biggest break from the neoconservatism that defined the Republican Party before Trump, the biggest break was tariffs and a reluctance to get involved in foreign conflicts. Like those were the two things that they always cited of why Trump is this new kind of Republican, right? Like he believes these free trade agreements are bad and we need strong tariffs. And he also thinks the war in Iraq was a massive mistake and we shouldn't be getting involved in anywhere. Obviously, the tariffs are ongoing. He's chickened out on the majority of them. But now he's overthrowing governments in South America. Something that Obama and Biden never did, obviously. Something that Bush did for complete other justifications, even if they ended up not having a concrete basis.
Yeah, and to be fair, Obama did it with Gaddafi. I mean, they did the regime change there, and also, but you're right, not in South America, but George H. Bush did in Panama. Obviously, Reagan did almost the whole continent. I mean, this is it's a disaster. Yeah, and I'd like to give anyone an example. When did a regime change work? Like, when has it actually led to friendly neighbors and friendly, like what they're saying? Like, when has that actually ever worked, ever? Another thing with the Saddam comparison, it also doesn't hurt that Maduro looks so much like Saddam Hussein. He dresses just like him. Yeah. He's got the mustache. He looks just like the dude. It's unbelievable.
Why do they like sweatsuits so much, too? Are they working out a lot?
Thick mustaches. And like a lot of swords. They always have swords. Have you noticed that? They love the fancy hats and the swords and and the beret. You always find them in a beret.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, we'll see how MAGA reacts. I assume some mild condemnation and then coming around to it because they believe that narco-terrorism is just so bad.
How do you think the Democrats will react? I mean, obviously the Bernies and such, they've all said their piece if they condemn it. But, like, how do you think the more established, like Schumer, those guys, like, what do you, if you had to guess?
He'll yawn and...
Go Bills?
Yeah, go Bills.
I mean, let's see.
So they did release a statement about it. And... I don't know if I'd call it moderately strong, I guess. So Jeffries and Schumer released a statement, and then Schumer also did an interview. And Schumer basically said, like, there's obviously no authority to do this. It's a violation without getting the authorization of Congress, which is kind of like what I think you would predict that they say.
Yeah. Because it's true, frankly.
We need some stronger language because the Republican Party and Trump just butchered Hillary and Biden for supporting the war in Iraq in the past. Like, that was just such a huge issue of why they felt superior to the Democrats when it comes to foreign policy. And if a Democrat did this today, they would be starting new impeachment proceedings right now.
Yeah, articles for impeachment, for sure. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what needs to happen. Like, even if it does, obviously they're still a minority in Congress, so it's not going to be successful to actually remove him from office. But, like, we need the strongest possible response, not Chuck Schumer, sleepy and
the Senate
saying
will
this
vote
is bad.
on Venezuela authorization this week, And I think that's the other thing people should remember too is a few weeks ago the Senate did vote on a bill to say to stop the Trump administration from doing this stuff unilaterally. The bill failed 51-49. Shocker. Seems like every bill fails 51-49 nowadays. And thank you, Susan Collins, for voting no on that one, by the way. Thank Susan Collins once again showing her true moderate self, But anyway, so they are re-voting on this again, but it's almost too late, in my opinion. I mean, we just took the president. We have to do something now, right? It almost would be worse if they just said, yeah, we're done here. Like, what do you...
And something as strong as impeachment proceedings, even if they're going to fail, tells the rest of the world that half the country completely opposes this and is outraged and embarrassed by this. And it's still embarrassing as a country, but at least the rest of the world will know that half of us are embarrassed by it.
Because, like, would you want to go to Mexico right now? I'd feel embarrassed, man. Like,
totally.
Like, it's just like, God. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what this vote happens. You know what I mean? Like, in this week, we'll probably be talking about it on Sunday, whatever this vote goes. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. I don't know what they're going to do. And then the last thing on this, and it's, putting on our conspiracy hats because we have to let people know when we're getting there. We don't want to act like we know for sure. But like, I would be remiss to mention that they have yet to release the Trump-related Epstein files, and as they have admitted, they said we're doing it in tranches, and we haven't done those ones yet, even though that broke the law. Do you put any credence at all to a conspiracy theory or thought of like this is just a very, very extreme smokescreen to the inevitable release of dramatic and incriminating further files, or do you think that's nonsense?
No, I don't think that's nonsense at all.
No, I'm just curious. Yeah, no, neither do I.
No, I think you could the timing just points to that, right? Because there was no recent attack from Venezuela that made this happen right now. Obviously, Trump was setting the groundwork for this the past year, but like there's nothing specific that was like he's about to send off a nuke. Like it's now or never, right?
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
So the fact that arguably Trump's biggest, I think you could say now it's his biggest scandal in political history, which is saying something because there's a lot. There's a lot. But I do think his connection to Epstein overall, now looking at it in context, is the single biggest scandal of his political career. Yeah. So 100%. They're finally about to be released, and he decides to overthrow another government. The timing is...
It's just too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be stupid to, I think like, oh, no way, it's just coincidence. I think, yeah. I mean, and also, exactly, actually, to the point you just made, there's a Fox News, I'm reading it right now, on Thursday, so the day before Maduro got captured, saying Maduro says he's willing to talk after a call with Trump. So it's weird. The day after I said, I'm ready to talk, capture him and bring him in for indictment. It's insane. And we have actually a good chunk of international listeners. It's probably like 30% of our audience. Whether or not they do the impeachment files, please don't hate us all. you know what I mean? Like, hundreds of, millions and millions of people think this is insane. This is not reflective of the entire, but kind of related because he had to speak on this already. Tough first week for Mr. Zoran Mamdani. He was inaugurated this week. He had his inauguration address. It was pretty, I don't know, did you catch any of it? I watched it. It was a long event. It was multiple hours, but I watched AOC, Bernie, and then him speak. Did you see any of it, or did you see the highlights?
Just like one clip or two, and I read about it. I didn't watch any of it. It seems like he, drove home his whole message of affordability and abundance and whatnot. But yeah, what was your impression?
Definitely. I mean, AOC was awesome. I think she continues to show that she's just a brilliant politician, in my opinion. Zoran was amazing, but it was really special, I thought, seeing Bernie, because Bernie swore him in, and
awesome.
You could see Bernie getting very emotional, because it really is his successor in a lot of ways. He finally kind of found his guy to pick the battalion on. I mean, AOC to an extent, too, I think, but you could really just see the pride in Bernie, which was awesome. I thought that was really great. And yeah, it was good. Zoran didn't obviously back down at all. He continued to stand firm on all of his promises, which a lot of people think are very ambitious, and, you know, I do too. But if this dude can get even half of this done, I mean, wow, what a win. And I like the ambitious. I rather that, you know?
Totally. And people on the right, politicians, are always that ambitious with campaign promises. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The economy's going to take off. We're all going to be richer than ever. But that's nice about Bernie. It's interesting because Bernie's 84 now, and he's had the same political views his entire life, you know, and he's been in politics for 50-something years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it must be really nice for him to see, like, wow, it took until my 80s for popular elected Democrats to come around on these issues.
Well, you know who wasn't at... And maybe they were, and I didn't see it because they didn't show them in the crowd. They kept panning to different, you know, figures like Bill de Blasio, stuff like that. You know who they didn't pan to? Mr. Chuck Schumer and Mr. Hakeem Jeffries. It's even more egregious for Jeffries because he represents the Bronx.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it was bad enough to not endorse him. I know Jeffries did last minute. Schumer never did endorse him in the election, but you would think by now they would try to hop on the train, right?
It's embarrassing, especially after Zoran met Trump and Trump loved him so much, you know? But Zoran's really relevant here, not just because of that, but because obviously, like we mentioned earlier, they're bringing Maduro to New York City. So Zoran had to give a, you know, comment on that, which I think he would have done anyway. But I you know, being like, this is illegal. This isn't, you know, good for the thousands and thousands of Venezuelans that live in New York City. And he apparently called Trump to tell him, like, I think this is terrible. But I don't know. I mean, what a week. First week on the job now. You have a foreign leader coming into the country. Oh, man. He's
literally
got his work cut out for him.
Literally like the first day.
I know.
On the job.
It's awful. Poor guy.
Hey, welcome to New York. Here's the keys to the house. And by the way, Maduro just got in as a prisoner.
Yeah, he's in a sweatsuit out back.
He'll be here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the attorney general already said we were going to arrest him no matter what the evidence was. So.
Yeah, and also we're arresting his wife. She's also out back. We're not sure why.
We don't know. Oh, they're going to put the vice president in charge? No, Trump called them a coward. Oh, really? They get along? No, actually, she hates Trump too. All right. It's a disaster. It's a nightmare. But it is, you know, the new era kind of rhetoric. It is true, you know. He's being bold. He's ambitious. He's, you know, pandering a bit. But hey, let him go. Yeah, I'm in on it. I'm in on the story. So he's got to do a good job, or we are maybe cooked for a while for people who want that type of governance. But if he does a good job, this could be the beginning of a big wave. I really do think that. I think there's a lot of hope here.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think he needs to accomplish everything, which seems to be the way that the mainstream media is approaching this. Like, there's no way he'll be able to yeah, of course. No politician has ever accomplished everything that they've said they're going to do.
Standard.
Yeah, the bar is not everything that they say they want to do. The bar is previous administrations, you know?
They said that with Bernie, too, when he was running for president. Like, oh, he'll never be able to accomplish all that. Really, because we've loved what's been accomplished so far. Like, lukewarm nonsense that's done nothing. I mean, like...
Right, and I think that's...
thriving.
And I think that's one of the more fair criticisms of Obama, is that he didn't use his political capital to push for strong enough policies. He had all this political capital behind him, and he chose to pursue like these moderate policies.
Bipartisan type.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get credit that way, which didn't work at all. No one gave him any credit for being bipartisan. No one. No one's happy about it. Not the right, not the left. That has not been something that's given people political wins, which is crazy. And speaking of which, and I thought this was really interesting, and before the U.S. invaded another country, I thought this would be one of the main stories, but never forget, the U.S. every single week with this guy is another documentary, and we are now regime changing it. Absolutely. Sorry to keep going on. Venezuela is a massive country with a really big military. This is crazy. Anyway, it's not like it's a little rinky-dink country. This is a big country, you know? And Maduro's not a popular guy, but you got to imagine at least 20% of the country likes him. Anyway, but
right, and just because the U.S. has a bad history of overthrowing other governments doesn't mean this should be normal.
No. It's just more proof that we're not any different from the, Russia or China on the federal level. What's the difference? We're all, right. It's a mafia state. Whatever. The difference is the states themselves, and the local government, but still, whatever. The ambitions of the federal government from a moral point of view, I don't think you can say are that different. Anyway, but to this point of bipartisanship and whatnot. So this week, Trump did his first veto of his second term. So, for people who forget how laws are made, fair enough. After they're passed by the Congress, they get stamped by the president, and they can veto these. And he vetoed a bill, which was a bipartisan bill, which H.R. 131, which was basically a federal project to complete this drinking water project in Colorado, southeast Colorado. So basically they needed federal funding to complete this project to get more clean water to more of the state. Trump vetoed this, even though the bill had unanimous congressional support. Like, literally everyone liked it. And obviously it has a huge, impact getting people clean water. And yeah, it's caused a lot of drama because the district is under Lauren Boebert's district, big Trumper Boebert herself, and now she's had to be critical about it. So yeah, I mean, weird to see a unanimous bill getting vetoed.
Yeah, that is unusual. And did Boebert say anything about it? Did she
said, how is this American first? By the way, how is invading Venezuela American first, by the way? But anyway, is it retribution politics because it has the word clean in it and they don't like clean energy, clean water? Anything with environment now gets vetoed? Is it with spending money on?
Right. I mean, I think sadly, like, not to be conspiratorial again, but like the billionaires whispering in his ear happen to not like this for whatever reason, right?
Yeah, or Vought, or
it's not it's not like Trump knows a lot about water policy.
No, it's Russell Vought or something. It's Heritage or Miller or Billy, something like or Nestle's been planning on opening up a private water supply in Colorado, or something like that. You're right. It's that. It has to be, because what are we even talking about here? Why would be getting safe rural areas, safe drinking water? Why would that be a problem? But it just shows you there is no morals here. There is no, this is not. There is no policy here. This is just random acts of favors and pettiness coming to life. Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier with these tariffs, the little tariff story. He had a plan tariffs on furniture this week. He's randomly announced saying they will be delayed a year. I just thought that was funny because it's just kind of funny to me that like furniture gets spared, which probably means, to your point, some big furniture company went in and said, "Hey, you gotta push these back."
Yeah, exactly.
Which made me laugh. Another funny thing about energy and his random hatred of wind energy. Trump hates wind. We've talked about that many times, and people know that. It just always amuses me because it's so you don't really hear anyone talking about wind energy that much. But this week he posted a picture of a bird dead under a wind turbine with the caption, "Wind turbines will kill all of America's big, beautiful bald eagles." Which can't help himself. They looked it up. The photo not only wasn't of an eagle, it was a falcon, and it was in Israel. So just what the hell is going on here? It's just so weird. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, it's so weird.
Not really, other than, and I'll defer to you obviously on wind energy stuff, but just the base, like how often that killing bird line is repeated by the right wing. Like, if you bring up wind energy to a person in the MAGA world, like, that's the one thing they will tell you, is that, doesn't that kill a bunch of birds? Like, that is the one talking point that has like made it through to everyone, even though it's like more of a niche issue broadly in the mainstream media. Like, the one thing that got through is like, don't they kill so many birds? That sounds like a bad idea.
And they really care about birds,
Right.
Yeah.
Other than RFK.
And with offshore wind, it's the whales. They found their new. That's their bird of the sea. So, and it's true. Wind turbines do kill birds, but they don't kill as many birds as stray cats or skyscrapers. It's highly possible, and this I don't know this for sure, but it's highly possible that Trump's skyscrapers and buildings that he's built over the years have killed more birds than all of the wind turbines in the U.S. total.
Yeah.
Like, skyscrapers kill tons of birds. Like, they fly right into the windows. Like, it happens all of the time. It happens, like, all of the time. Like, and I've never heard anyone ever bring that up for skyscrapers. They do it all the time. Like, I think it's because it's pigeons and people don't care about pigeons. Pigeons' lives matter. Why do they not care about the pigeon? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be a big deal. Another piece of news story this week that got buried was that Social Security checks have been delayed like crazy. So there are massive backlogs in the Social Security Administration, which there is often, but there's 6 million cases that are backlogged with around 12 million transactions for people who are, getting their Social Security checks. And that's unbelievably high compared to what's normal, like many multitudes higher than normal. Not only can I say that, it is worth noting that Big Balls now does work at the SSA, but also, like, what do you expect? I mean, you cut all the staff. What do you expect?
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And Social Security checks are really important. I feel like that could really piss people off because, again, people really don't, I think, understand how, like, people who are receiving Social Security, I think sometimes don't, like, really understand how the system works, and they just kind of take for granted that they show up on time. So I feel like them not showing up on time could cause a little bit of a brouhaha.
Yeah, they're so important, and like we always talk about, like, the U.S. doesn't have single-payer health care. We don't have a social safety net nearly to the level of Europe.
No.
And other countries around the world. And one of the few benefits that the federal government actually provides somewhat successfully is Social Security. So when that isn't working, it's just like the bottom's falling out and the poorest people are getting screwed the hardest, obviously, because rich people probably have other income streams in retirement other than Social Security. So yeah, just kind of a disaster. And I agree, like, it could be really bad politically for a guy that gets the majority of old white votes.
Yep. And I think that and the healthcare premium's about to go up. I think those two might be a real big problem. And then the last thing, kind of good news, is so it was announced this week that the National Guard will be leaving Chicago, Los Angeles, and Portland because of not only governors rejecting them, but also the court saying that it was illegal for him to do that. Now, we'll see if he continues to do this. Obviously, his sentence was they'll leave for now. So for now means I guess he could come back. But good to see at least that, law winning, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah, and he said we will come back perhaps in a much different and stronger form when crime begins to soar again. So once again, Trump is patting himself on the back for solving a completely non-existent problem.
Yeah.
But like you said, this is good news, so let him pat himself on the back, and let him withdraw these troops.
Exactly. Well, maybe you need to withdraw them because they'll be going to freaking, I don't know, Venezuela. I don't know. And then lastly, before we get to the corner, we've talked over the years so far all the different products Trump sells. The Trump guitars, the Trump perfume,
steak.
Trump steaks, Trump, everything. He's got a full gift shop. He often takes world leaders to the gift shop. and gives them free Trump 2028 hats or whatnot. I use Ground News. I don't know if you, Rick, you use that. Hopefully a future sponsor of this podcast one day. It's a great like kind of news aggregator, and they do a lot of cool kind of political bias filtering and stuff like that. Highly recommend it. But these are usually not silly news stories. They're usually more like serious ones that get through Ground. I laughed when I saw this one get through. It was Trump Mobile pushes back release of gold color phone. And I looked, and yeah, apparently there's a Trump Mobile. I didn't realize Trump had his own phone network. And yeah, they were gonna release a gold phone, around $500. And yeah, it's delayed. What made me laugh the hardest, not only that Trump is selling cell phones, which is ridiculous, by the way, that the President of the United States has so many personal branded ventures going on at once, is it doesn't say made in the U.S., it's made in the U.S. styled phone. What does that mean? What? It's not made in the U.S., it's made in the U.S. styled.
Oh my God. You know, I've seen on guitar equipment designed in the U.S. Yeah. I'm like, that's an interesting way to pat yourself on the back for paying one engineer for 3 hours of work and then having all your factories overseas.
Exactly, which is probably what this is.
That's a funny new one.
It's definitely just another designed in the U.S. Apple does that, designed in California with the iPhone. Whenever you get a new one, you'll see that on the box. It's definitely what that means. It's designed in the U.S. and blah blah blah. But yeah,
it looks US like styled. One that. Yeah, it's not created here, but it looks like one that could be
because it's gold. Him pawning out gold cell phones is so funny. Like,
taking people to the gift shop. It's like the word tacky doesn't do it justice, you know.
No. Him spritzing you with the scent of freedom, the fight cologne. And then giving you like a Trump teddy bear, like it's just,
goodie bag,
little party favorite,
a little QVC goodie bag on their way out,
little horn, little Trump, the sound of victory. So stupid.
So embarrassing.
It's so
embarrassing for a country of 350 million people.
Think about it, the same week that the Trump administration toppled the Venezuelan regime, he said, also, by the way, we're going to have to delay the release of our golden Trump phone.
But the ballroom is not delayed. That's still moving forward with full steam.
So dumb. It's so dumb.
There's one, before the Culture Corner, there's one more story I saw about Trump's health. Obviously, frequent topic, is he going senile? Is he just a worse version than he's ever been? Trump's health is questioned. So he has a lot of visible bruises on his arm. So this week in a Wall Street Journal interview, he was asked about it, and he said it's because he takes a incredibly high dose of aspirin every day. And he said, quote, "They say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart." Does that make sense?
No, sir, it does not.
No.
I mean, it kind of does.
In the same interview, he bragged about acing his third straight cognitive test.
Which, by the way, if people don't know what those are, it's like sketches of a giraffe, and you go, "What animal is this?" And you click, like, that's what those are.
Yeah.
You can Google what they look like. It's like, what blocks will stack? These circle blocks, these square blocks, or these triangle blocks? Like, those are the tests he's taking. They're not tests like, what's the capital of Nigeria? They're like, does this person know who he is? Like, is this a conscious person with the education of a toddler?
Right.
They're cognitive tests like, are you literally with us right now? They're not cognitive tests.
He implies
how smart you are.
He implies their IQ tests that he got a 180 on.
Exactly, which they are not. They're not like advanced puzzles. He's not like Sherlock Holmes solving. People I think people think that. Like, that's what they are. They're like, what goes moo? A pig, a cow, a dog. Like, that's what those things are.
Right. They're tests that if you get any of them wrong, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, like you are either 2 years old or you should not be allowed to leave your house.
Right.
Like, yeah, no. I mean, how much aspirin is he on, by the way, to be that bruised?
So much. And by the way, like aspirin, obviously people know it used to be used as a preventative for cardiovascular disease, but now there's better drugs that do that and don't cause thinning of the blood and internal bleeding, which aspirin does. So like it's not advised by doctors at all for why he's taking it. So we should mention that too.
You got to imagine he found that via RFK, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, one of his previous personal doctors, they've said he has amazing genes. He's the healthiest president of all time. Like his doctors don't have a good track record. One was a huge ivermectin guy, just blasting people with ivermectin.
Well, there's still ivermectin.
Yeah, so it's all BS. Yeah, thought that was an interesting update, just, for people concerned about Trump's health.
No, it's
nice.
Imagine if freaking Biden just was bruised like that. Oh, man. That would be nightmare fuel.
Why? Yeah, and he goes, I just take so much aspirin. And they go, why? That's not advised. And he goes, I just like taking it because I want my blood to be thin and beautiful.
What a thin
Be like,
beautiful.
Okay, buddy, let's get you out of here.
Time for bed. Time to go talk about Venezuela. Oh, my God. Yeah, great. Oh, and lastly, actually, I meant to bring this up with the Venezuela stuff. I'm looking at our notes now. You know what's another thing to think about, too, is Cuba next, because obviously the history of everything, but Marco Rubio in particular has been always very focused on Cuba, being in that Florida conservative world and obviously being, now Secretary of State. Like, I feel like it's always been kind of a pet interest of his. I could see a world now where Cuba is kind of the next eye, like where the U.S. starts meddling.
Yeah, 100%. And it fits into the same framework that Iraq and Venezuela does, where it's like they're kind of long-term enemies of the U.S. So there's like all these conservative organizations and figures that have been wanting intervention, like in the background, that might jump on the opportunity now.
The older gentleman in the room. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And
Dick Cheney
Rubio,
and friends.
Yeah, exactly. These goons, heritage goons, they are communist. No, that language can be used. And Rubio personally being so invested in it, like right. Rubio has really had a crazy year. We don't talk about him as much as the other goons because he's not, telling you Tylenol causes autism or, saying the Lutnick with his tariff jargon or Pam Bondi or Tulsi Gabbard and whatnot. But Rubio, think about how much foreign conflict we've gotten involved with, And Hegseth, I think, often gets a lot of the brunt of it, as he should now that he calls himself the war king. But, Rubio's supposed to really be managing these relationships, and I don't know if he's doing a great job.
Right, agreed.
And he's supposed to... I think a lot of people kind of think of him as a potential heir apparent because he's more of a politician.
For sure, and he's like the only famous elected Republican that was famous before Trump that totally sold his soul to MAGA and changed a bunch of his views, but is still in the Trump's cabinet in his second term. Like, the rest of the cabinet are these, Pete Hegseth's, Linda McMahon figures of just, like, previous rejects. Yeah.
RFK.
Yeah. Whereas Rubio was actually part of the establishment, and he's kind of the only one that has survived, like, the purge of, like, the old Republicans.
Yeah, he ran against Trump. And he was a favorite, right? It was him and Jeb that were kind of the main favorites in the beginning.
Yeah.
Remember those days? The primaries against Jeb?
Yeah, once it was down to just Trump and Ted Cruz, I was like, this isn't looking good.
When Trump called Ted Cruz's wife a dog, and then Ted Cruz then started phone banking for Trump a few weeks later.
Yeah.
What a strong man.
Really one of the most embarrassing things I've ever heard of.
Or him hiding when they have the hurricanes and the floods, him at the airport. There's like an airpod. Him in a sweatsuit.
Yeah.
Piece of shit. He's such a bad guy.
I hate that guy.
What a bad. Him and his fake pastor voice. He always looks right at the camera like he's preaching the good word. Get out of here. But anyway, you know what it is. As we wrap up the news, it's always we have to call Linda in. Linda.
It's time for Rick's Cultural Corner.
Thank you, Linda.
She needs a little bit more pizzazz. I think I'm gonna put a job ad for her.
Yeah, indeed.
If you need a new AI assistant, robot Linda.
So I thought for the Culture Corner this week, we'd give a quick update on our friend of the pod, Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, Rudy.
It's been a few months since we've talked about Rudy.
No, yeah, we haven't heard about him in a while.
And he's still out there causing trouble.
Trouble. Swiper,
causing
no
a
swiping.
ruckus.
Rudy, no ruckus. Rudy ruckus. Rowdy Rudy.
So a refresher that Trump pardoned him in November for the charges connected to attempts to overthrow 2020.
Oh, yeah.
As part of that pardoning with other people for the same charges. So he was in the news in November, and then 2 weeks ago he did an interview where he said, "Get ready, the Big Apple is about to be a disaster," thanks to Mamdani coming in.
Thank you, Rudy.
So everyone that takes Rudy Giuliani seriously in the year 2026 should be very concerned for New York City's future.
Pan to him in Borat 2 with the...
taking off his pants.
Exactly.
But this article from 2 days ago, Tom Latcham at the Daily Beast writes, Giuliani flubs a simple selfie clip at Mar-a-Lago's New Year's Eve bash. And he writes that, so there was a big Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve celebration with all the worst people in MAGA.
The worst
there.
of the worst, yeah.
Yeah.
The lowlights of the country, yeah.
Not the best of the best. Very far from the best of the best.
Not our best and brightest.
And in the 30-second clip that Rudy posted on Instagram, he appears to be struggling to use his phone to take a video, talking, saying, "I can't figure it out," while like a close-up of his face just looking drunk and confused. What's interesting is that Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby is playing in the background. And in the video, you can see both Ice Barbie Kristi Noem and Ice Baldy Stephen Miller both dancing. Both dancing to Ice Ice Baby. Now, I don't even know if I'd call it conspiratorial to say this is intentional. And that's an interesting, but that wasn't even the main thing. The main thing was just everyone saying Rudy is absolutely hammered and can't work a cell phone. I'll send you a picture. Maybe we'll
can we post it on
tweet this
Instagram
out or something?
Yeah.
Let me send you this right now. He looks unbelievable. Just wow.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna tweet this out now, even before the pod airs.
Yeah, put this on the Lonely Liberal Instagram story. They need the close-up of Rudy's face.
Oh my God, he looks awful.
He's just drunk listening to Ice Ice Baby going, "I can't figure out my phone."
Oh my God. I wonder if Vanilla Ice will get upset. Is he MAGA?
I imagine he will perform anywhere that pays him. If I had to guess.
I can't imagine he has eyes. This picture is brutal.
He seems Kid Rock adjacent.
Yeah, Vanilla. Just imagining Stephen Miller collaborate in this scene. Dance. Also, like, it's funny because it's Vanilla Ice, and they're just so Ice Queen, the Ice Boys,
Ice Barbie and Ice Baldy, getting jiggy with it.
Maybe the two worst people in the entire country.
Imagine seeing them and drunk Rudy on a dance floor.
It sounds like the worst wedding ever. How old is Rudy?
He is old.
Is he older than Trump?
He's got to be 80-something, or 81.
God. Yeah, you're right. When you type Rudy Giuliani in this picture of him, he's a jerk. We need to get him on the pod. Isn't he selling something? Or isn't he selling like trail mix or something like that? Why do these guys just have so much branded crap?
Rudy's carnivore snacks.
Yeah, something? Rudy's beef jerky. Rudy's chews. Oh my God. This is a rough look for me. It's funny because, like, who is the equivalent of this on the left? Like, who's like a Rudy Giuliani, like, who's like the Democratic version of that?
I don't think there's anyone that is that much of, he's like a clown in so many ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, who's like the goofy Rudy, like.
Well, also like the fall from 9/11 Rudy to where he is now is, I can't think of anybody that has fallen off like that in politics.
Exactly. Like, I can't think of anyone. I thought about maybe Biden with his ice cream. People do enjoy that. Every time Biden holds ice cream, I feel like but he just wasn't as disgraced as Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
No, it's not even. It's a very insulting comparison. Like, to Biden, I wouldn't even do it. Yeah, no, that's a great check-in, and I think I'll tweet out the photo so people can take a look at on our Instagram, because this is a real gem. It's a brutal pick. But yeah, all right, that's our show. So when are you thinking posting on the Substacks for people who want to check it out?
Maybe later today. Get it started.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think you can comment right on Substack, right? Like,
yeah, I think so. And feel free to write in for suggestions. I have a few ideas for my next few weeks. I think I will want to combine politics with like some of the culture corner stuff.
To
these articles, and kind of like expand on some of the stuff we discuss on the pod.
I think that's a great idea.
Write everyone write in if there's anything you want us to look more into and write about.
Unreal. That's great. Yeah, at the Lonely Liberal Podcast at gmail.com. And the Substack, oh, by the way, it's just Lonely Liberal Pod, right? If they type in Lonely Liberal, they'll find it. It's zero for it's a brand new account, so it's not bustling, but it will bustle one day.
Yeah, be one of our first 10 followers.
Yeah,
if you're
one of the first 10 followers, when we do make our hats, you will get one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a promise. Okay, we stand by. Our word is very valuable here. But anyway, all right, that's our show. I'll talk to you later, Rick. Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
See ya. And that's our show, folks. Thank you so much for listening today. If you like the show, please give it a 5-star review on wherever you listen to podcasts or YouTube. It would be great if you like, subscribe, and comment. I'm curious what you guys think about all this Venezuela drama. And before I get out of here, don't forget to follow the Lonely Liberal Podcast Substack. It would be great to hear what you guys think for ideas, what you think of the articles that Rick's writing. The first one's up right now. It's really, really good. So check that out. Substack, for those who don't know, is just a blog, basically. And it's really good. It's a really nice interface, really clean. So, yeah, really excited about that. And we will be back on Wednesday. I know I didn't do one this week, but New Year's Eve got the better of me. But I will be back to a normal schedule very, very soon. And I really appreciate you all for being here. I thank you all the time, but really, very, very appreciated. Really excited for 2026. This is going to be a fun year, first full year for the pod, so that will be cool. All right, see you later. Bye.